Going back to Blender live noding, this is going to be an additional example to previous live noding. So it's basically, it's looking like a hair, but this is basically like an instance object that's using adaptive polygon, or actually Tesselate mesh node in latest geometry nodes 3.1. So this is the special version of 3.1. And how I did this was basically I'm creating some squiggly lines using sphere chop. Okay, so if I made changes here, you can see some of the squiggly lines is changing, and yeah, they are all like kind of like a bunch of hair that I generated on the fly, and it's looking like that. Let me hide this. Okay, so these squiggly lines was generated using sphere chop. Okay, and I have only 8 different variants of the squiggly lines, and I created this by using line and noise displace nodes. Sphere chop actually have some nodes that's actually really quite interesting, and geometry nodes can kind of simulate that. You can, for example, do some interesting thing like, see, I'm increasing the number of hair strands. Let me show you. Okay, I could have like maybe five hairs, 5 squiggly lines, and I can adjust the noise. And I can increase the length of the lines, increase the number of vertices. I can create random seed variants, and I can increase this number to 50, for example. So it's becoming like that. And this will actually transfer and updates into collections that's being used by geometry nodes. You can see there's one hair strand there that's a little bit funky and different. So let me adjust this very quickly. I can increase the noise. Okay, you got the idea. So these guys from sphere chop goes into collections, and it's become like a hair strand, like a braided hair, and then geometry nodes takes over. Okay, so let's hide the strands. Okay, now we can see this is like the setup is very simple. Let me adjust this decimations. So I actually use decimations. I started with just a star with, let's try 12 points. Adjust the inner and outer shapes. It's looking a little bit like donuts, but it's a star shapes. And I use curve to mesh and circle of radius of 2. I can adjust this. So less is better always. And there's this Tesselate mesh. I think I actually used the Tesselate mesh down here. So there's a second one. Can get rid of this one. And I use subdivisions, and I use decimate. Decimate actually adds some kind of randomness. With decimate set to 1, maybe it's not so random. With decimations and triangulations, and with dual mesh, we're gonna get some more variations. So dual mesh subdivide. I don't know why I do it multiple times. I think it's giving a more interesting result. I can use quad or fan, and I'm actually using cone. So without Tesselate mesh, it's looking, yeah, it's just gonna look like this. This is the original shape of this star. Yeah, maybe I prefer something like this, and then I actually use decimate for randomizations, but it's looking rather like a hard solid surface models. And then here I am using the collections from SphereChalk with the separate children and reset children. Plug this here, and then we can see the result. Boom, our hair. And it's been randomized, and we can randomize the seed. Let's see if we can kind of adjust this further. Okay, density. I can play around whether I want to use pause on this or random, something completely random. So what's happening here, it's using the strand from SphereChalk and just put it on top of the polygon face, thanks to the Tesselate mesh, I guess. Tesselate mesh and the components. Okay, the component is the cone. Oh yeah, all right. So apparently I actually did something really strange here, using the cones as well on top. So you can see something that's looking like a snake's, kind of like a snake scale. So I use multiple tessellations before I get to the collections, and then just scatter it on the collections, which is pretty strange. I could have used it back here. But after tessellate here, so I use realize instances and then do this distribute points to randomize the position. If I do this, let's try instance on points with these collections, but we bypass the dual mesh. Let me try tessellate. Okay, this one apparently doesn't work. Maybe I need to convert the curve beforehand into mesh before this can work. But anyhow, the result is something that's quite interesting like this. It's basically like a curve, the curve that's acting as instance on points on a tessellated mesh. So this is quite complex, but the nice thing about it is that it's real-time and interactive. So I can always come back to this hairy donut, change the number of points, for example, make this 20, change the radius, and everything updates. Unlike like a hair strands that only visible in render, this one actually visible in real time. All right, so yeah, I really like the geometry nodes and the tessellate because it's really fast, and also the instancing is super fast, so you can do like a crazy render very fast like this. It's almost like a volume of hair that's being generated on the fly in real time. Okay, so that's pretty much it what I want to show you. I will actually give you the blend files. You need to have SphereChalk add-on already installed and geometry nodes version 3.1 with the Tesselate node. Alright, so hopefully this is useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.